Okay, hello and welcome to Bleed Extra with me, Ryan Whyte. I'm a graphic designer and I'm joined by Jacque Moodley. He's an art director.
Hola.
Okay, so this is Bleed Extra. We're not going to go into what Bleed is. If you want to know what Bleed is, check our social pages and our YouTube channels and all the other things. And then you can find the rationale of what Bleed is, because we've said it too many times. But anyways, we're going to pick up from where we left off. Last week, we were talking about relationships within the industry of advertising / creative industries and pros and cons.
Sure.
And there's one thing I just want to mention about that before we move on to the next topic. We didn't speak about how you can have someone who's in a non-creative field. So say, for instance, or traditionally perceived as non-creative. Because I don't know, like for me, I think pretty much all industries are creative in some way. It's not necessarily drawing and making music and whatever, but you have like you can have stereotypically creative people in a traditionally non-creative industry, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like some of my accountant friends are really good at music and they can paint and they dress cool and stuff like that. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there.
I think the difference is some people's parents were just like, nope, you're not going to do this. Like I have a friend who's like, oh, really creative, really conceptual, good at like design and stuff, and studied like, what is it? Business, fucking accounting.
Actuarial sciences.
Yeah, but like data analysis. But he's very creative and has a great eye. But parents were like, nope, you're not going into creative field. You can do whatever you want as a hobby on the side, but you're gonna go get a job to make money. And some parents are like relaxed about it. I wish my mom was hard on me, man. I would have been something else. But you know, thanks.
Do you think it happens? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying it all comes down to mom problems, bro. This is more of a therapy session. Like, why are you in advertising? Well, you see, the relationship with my mom is kind of like, I don't have the best relationship. She just let me do what I wanted. I needed more rules and structure. She was a single mother, so she just let me do what I want.
She let me wreak havoc, and now I'm in advertising.
Now I'm in advertising. Fuck. Thanks, mom.
So that's how the pattern goes. When you're a kid, you eat too much sugar. Then you go to high school, you start smoking, and then when you get out of school, you get into advertising. It's like you're following that rebellious.
It's not, yeah, it's kind of like that, but it's like you ate too much sugar, and then you like blame your mom like years later. Why are my teeth fucked up? No, your mom bought you the sweets. You didn't have to eat all of them.
Yeah. Do you think it works the other way around though? So like you have creative field and someone who's traditionally not creative in there, like they should be an accountant or they should be a lawyer, but they're trying their best to draw pictures and write words and come up with insights and stuff.
I think that's me, man. I think I should have been. No jokes. I think like analytically I'm pretty good, but I just was like, oh, I can draw Ninja Turtles really well, so I'm just gonna fucking draw Ninja Turtles. I think it was like, it's my attitude, not my aptitude. You know what I mean? I was just like, fuck the serious shit. I just want to have fun and draw Ninja Turtles. I haven't drawn one Ninja Turtle since I got in this industry. Not one. Not Raphael, not Leonardo, not who the other artists are, Michelangelo. Who am I missing? Donatello fucking Teller, bro. Yeah. Not one Ninja Turtle. I drew a Ninja Turtle in matric. Shout out to Bracken High School. I drew like, you know, where the matrics get like a book and they go, welcome grade 8s. These are the people you need to know, and this is whatever. And I got to draw the Ninja Turtles, and I was like, I just did a graphic design. I can do this for the rest of my life and make money. And then, fucking 12 years later, not one Ninja Turtle, dog. I'm disappointed with myself.
It's not too late, bro. We can have a drawing session sometime.
I'd like that.
I still remember how to draw Ninja Turtles from memory.
Yeah, draw Zuma and then put a bandana. Remember that joke? We
Yeah,
got
we
into
all
lodge
do.
cancelled.
Yeah, cancelled exactly. Yeah, so that's I kind of agree with that. I think it is more attitude than aptitude. Um, but yeah, for me, it was also like I just didn't have. I think it's the way, and we've touched on it before. It's the way those certain subjects were taught, and it's just parrot fashion. They don't really show you the techniques, the ways of thinking, how to arrive at solutions. It's just like this equals that. Just remember it, and you'll pass. You know.
The
But anyway,
one
yeah.
subject I really liked because it needed a little bit of creative input was English. And
Mm,
English writing. And I remember there was even like an exam. Shout out to Mr. Sampson. I wonder if she's still alive.
mm,
She was old when I was in school, and I'm old.
mm,
Anyway, there was one thing in like the one of the English exams where you had to make an ad for like a watch. I don't know what was special about this watch. There's something special about the watch. It wasn't like a real watch. It was just like I don't know. It was like a watch that like could tell the future or something. And you had to like come up with a slogan, and you had like a name brand for the watch. And I think I finished the rest of the exam really quickly, so I could just concentrate on like making this thing for the watch. I was like, fuck, man, this is fun. And that was English. English was a one subject where you had a little bit of freedom. You sometimes could write a poem. So you could do like a fucking sonnet, or you could do a haiku if like you wanted to. Like it was always like English was the only subject that allowed creativity and like a little bit of play. Art was more structured than English was. And I should have maybe gone more into writing. Not that I'm a great writer, because you're better at writing. But art was even more constrictive, and you had to use a certain palette, and your subject matter had to be about like the 1 year was war. Like our matric exam was like war. And you had to do stuff about war. And I did war in the body or some shit because I was looking at my paintings and they were shit. Um, but you could have some like play in English. And that was the subject like I think I gravitated towards and I had the most fun in because you could come up with ideas. And that's
mm.
a lot of I don't know, companies do say they promote like ideas and creative thinking. I know like some of the financial institutions like come up with like better ways to improve our business, which I think is really fucking cool. I think when you chatted to Collie, he was like, those guys are the company he works for. We can say it like F&B, right?
Yeah.
They really do push creativity and they really do push innovation and like make our bank better, which I
Mm.
think is fucking cool, man. And like a lot of companies won't allow you because yeah, you like you were saying, you have like accountants who have like a flair for fucking music or creativity, and they're not allowed to express it, and that's why maybe they get depressed and buy Porsches. I mean, I'd rather cry in a Porsche than a Kia. But no disrespect to Kia, sponsor us. I love my Kia. But what I was going to say is, I think companies that embrace creativity, whether they're not an inherently creative company or you know what I mean, like they're a financial institution, but they embrace creativity. I think that's cool, man. And I think we're finding a lot of our friends are moving into that space where they're creatives, but they're moving into like traditionally non-creative companies because those non-creative companies are seeing the value of creativity. I think they know the value of creativity. They're just bringing it in-house.
Yeah.
I'm way off topic here.
No. I think you can mention the company name if you're not slagging them off, so that's fine.
Shout out F&B sponsor.
But it would make sense for you to gravitate towards English because of obviously your rapping background and musical production and stuff.
I
Yeah.
think English pushed me. I mean, yeah, I always liked hip hop or whatever, but I think I think maybe you're right. It's chicken or egg, right? Because English, when poetry came up in English, and I was like, I saw the rhyming structures of like the sonnets, and I saw, you know, how many syllables they would pack into like a line. That like part of it was like influenced my writing because then when I started writing my own raps, because when you're starting out as like a rapper, you just mimic other people's raps until you can do your own. So I would like recite Eminem or recite what else did I really like?
That's the
Puff
rhyme.
Daddy and Big. Not so Buster, not so
Yeah,
much Buster.
no.
No, jokes aside, the first track I ever made with my friend Minus, shout out Minus, what up Minus, was his birthday yesterday. The first track I ever made, like literally took a cassette, looped the beat and recorded over it, was a Busta Rhymes song. I don't know I think it's Ambulance or Call the Ambulance to Come and Get Your People. I don't know if you know that song. It's in Genesis. I think it's on Genesis. But anyways, like and even the flow, like I think slow flow dun, 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 da, 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 da. And I wrote like in that flow, in that pattern, like, I don't know what to think. I think my name was Rusty at the time. I was like, no, 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 my name is Rusty. I don't like all girls, just the ones that are busty. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was shit like that. I'm not even kidding. I was 13. I like busty girls. I mean,
you're going through puberty. It's fine.
I went to puberty late. I think 19. I was like, finally kicked in. I think my voice broke in college. I think you saw me. I was like this high in first year, and then like shut up. But got a bit taller.
Yeah.
I was like, acne popped up. I was like, where the fuck? I got acne in college, dude. Second year. I was like,
come on, man.
I really did. You think I'm joking? I had this discussion the other day. Now I've got glorious skin. Look at this.
Yeah.
But like, shit skin in college, bro.
You moisturize, right?
Moisturizer. I put toner now. I fucking exfoliate. I do all the shits, bro. I need to take care of myself. It's self-care Sundays every day.
Yeah, I also moisturize, but I have to be quite picky with the moisturizers that I use because sometimes the camphor doesn't agree with my skin.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know what camphor is. I don't bring that on your face. Is it camphor cream for like cracked heels?
Yeah, I don't know.
The guy's like crawling in the fucking desert and he's like, you think he's gonna reach for the water and he reaches for the camphor cream. That's a fucking great ad, by the way. Shout out to him.
What a good ad.
Great ad then. You remember it, you remember what the ad was, you remember your mind was tricked because you're like, he's in the desert, he wants water. And they fucking did a great job of setting the scene. And then he goes, reaches and gets the camphor, and you're like, what? 90s advertising, bro, golden age.
I'm gonna try and find that ad, and I'll add it to our playlist on YouTube. The moment you said that ad, I already knew exactly what you're talking. I remember the pack shot. I remember everything. It's a good ad. I wanted to chat to you about that exam because I used to do the same thing during English exams. I would get through everything, and then there would be a little bit of we also had to do like a little bit of an advert or something. And that's pretty much advertising, come up with a watch, figure out what it does, find a way to promote it. I did the exact same thing. Spend like an hour on that.
I think my line was like, it's time to play. Do you know what I mean? Because it was like, there's like a watch. I think you had games on it. Something about the watch wasn't like normal. Like it could either, you could play, had games loaded on it or something. It was like a future watch. This was the 2000s. How old the fuck was I? When I was in high school. 2000 to 2004. Fuck, I'm old. Anyways, I think it was like matric or 2003 or 2004. And the watch there was something in the watch. And I was like, it's time to play. And I was like, fucking greatest line ever. Because it's a watch, so it's time, but it's game, so it's time to play. I was like, I'm fucking nailed it. I think I got a 70.
there's the puns again. Puns again. So I mean, we kind of wrapped that up. So I think we can get on to the next topic. So some of the things we mentioned. So you brought up relationships, but then some of the other topics were, what did I say? Like mental health, being a permanent versus freelance, and what was the other thing?
I don't know, but I think the permanent freelance thing, man, is important because I'm even working with a guy now, and he's really brilliant, and like we want to keep him at the agency that I'm at, and he's sticking to his guns, man. He's like, no, I'm a freelancer. I've got my other shit going on, and I've always been permanent just because I have responsibilities. Not that like freelancers don't, but like I've got a kid and I need to pay for every month. And he needs stuff. So like I've always worried about doing freelance purely from the fact that I can't not have a job, and I'm not good at saving, which I think is the main thing. Because if you are freelance, I think you need to have like a bit of, I mean, you can speak to this, but you need to have like some sort of like safety net.
Yeah.
And I've never got around to safety netting myself. So maybe you can just chat to the benefits and the pros and the cons, man, of freelancing versus permanent.
Yeah. So I think it's more of a personality thing. Yeah, being a freelancer versus a permanent member of staff, I prefer freelance. I think it's a personality thing. So like for me, I enjoy having some form of structure, but some autonomy and freedom within there. And it's also you can represent your own values and things like that, your own work ethics and stuff, because you are essentially your own company. So if you work as a permanent member of staff, you know this. There's a level of indoctrination. There's a level of we've got our company values, our reward systems and stuff. And if you're a permanent member of staff, you kind of have to buy into those ideals in a way. So yeah, for me, it's just that's how it is. You can kind of come up with your own efficiencies, your own company values if you want, or your own kind of work ethic, and you can stick to them and you can hold yourself accountable to them. So you can kind of like design your own values in a way, and that makes you, yeah, it's just, for me, it's more comfortable because then I'm kind of working on my terms and my standard in a way. So when, and that's what makes freelancers so good, I think, so appealing. Sometimes, I mean, and that's the biggest thing for me, and just the ability to be like, cool, I'm going to take 2 weeks off. Yes, it's on my own account, because you don't get paid leave, obviously, but then you can take on a project. So whether it's even a free project, so if someone says, hey, I want you to get involved in a podcast that I'm doing, or we filming a short film and we need an art director, or whatever the story is, and even if it's pro bono, you can just be like, cool, this is one for the portfolio, and I can end my contract at a certain date and then take on another creative, piece. Not that I've ever done a short film, but you know what I mean? It's like the option is there. And maybe sometimes you just want to like go to the beach for 2 weeks spontaneously, and then you can.
Yeah, which you definitely can't do as a permanent member of society.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously things like negotiating your own increases or your own rates, not necessarily increases. You can kind of decide when you want to increase your rates, and you obviously calculate that against fair things like inflation and the cost of living and that kind of stuff. And you can kind of justify your pay grade, and you can negotiate that. Or whereas, if you're a permanent, they'll obviously want you to stay on the lowest possible salary for the longest possible time, because then that's a good business model, because they can make maximum profit.
Yeah.
But with freelancers, it's fine, because usually what happens with freelancers, if they get a freelancer and the freelancer says, this is my rate, it's not like they're losing money. All they do is they will put a markup on that and charge that to the client in any event. So everyone's winning. It's just, do you want to have a freelancer in there, someone who has their own efficiencies, their own work ethic, where they're going to be able to handle a project? Because the nice thing with freelancers is you can get a range. You can get juniors, mids, and seniors, which is the same with permanent members of staff, but it's just you can kind of customize. It's a lot more customizable. So for huge campaigns coming up, let's get a senior freelancer just to help us through that time. If you just want to get some banners out, then you can get a few midweights or juniors or whatever.
I guess maybe the model, just going to what you're saying now, and the way agencies are now, maybe a freelance model is better. So an agency should just hire freelancers for projects, because anyone who's worked in an agency knows there's lots of downtime. Not lots, I haven't had downtime in a while, but for the most part, like when you have a team, let's say they on one account or one campaign. So like recently I worked on a big campaign, and as soon as that campaign was done, it was like dead quiet. And then, I got onto a pitch or whatever afterwards, but for those like 2 days or whatever, like there's literally nothing to do. And it's hard to like fill your timesheets when you literally don't have anything to do, and they can't give you work because you subscribe to this account or whatever, and there's nothing on that account at the time. So then, like, if I was a freelancer, literally the day that project's over, boom, my contract ends, I'm out, pay me my monies. And yeah, that makes a little bit more sense than having like people sitting there not doing anything. But I mean, yeah, it's tough, man, because also, yeah, the process of like vetting freelancers as a company is like difficult. And obviously you either go with guys you worked with before, or you go by like recommendations, or you go through like a freelancer agency, like No Sweat, I guess. So I don't know if you want to mention names, but yeah, but I think from a company point of view, like it is better to get like the permanent guys just because you have like staff that are going to be there anytime something comes in. Whereas a freelancer, then you have to go phone them up. Hey, are you available? Can you work after hours if they're working on another company? So like I think, yeah, for an agency, man, I don't know what the best model is. Employee, they're there permanently, but also there's like benefits of having an employee because they subscribe to your like group life or your provident fund, and you get tax back from that, right? Having these guys permanently in UIF and all this other shit that they pay for. So I think for a company, it's better to have a permanent staff. What do you think?
Yeah, so I agree with that. There's obviously those kickbacks and ways that you can minimize your costs and stuff. We can get a financial guy to come in on the show and like just explain all of that. I mean, I've had it explained to me, but I just don't want it to stick in my brain. But I mean, yeah, no. So I agree from that point of view. It is more profitable to have permanent people on your books because then you can project your expenses, and it's just easier, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other upshots, but yeah, so like, I mean, call me fascist, but I mean, I would be a permanent member of staff if I was afforded my own kind of culture, my own way of doing things, and yeah, my own processes, my own hours, autonomy, not being micromanaged, then I would be a permanent member of staff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they said to me, you are employed permanently, and then I'm like, cool. We're not going to clock watch. We're not going to make you do timesheets. We're not going to micromanage you. You just need to get your job done. You don't need to come into the office. Who wouldn't be permanent? I'd be like, cool. But the reason why I feel like they want you to be permanent is so that they can watch you, they can micromanage, they can instill fear. How many times have you been called into a boardroom and people are like, yeah, guys, we're having a bit of layoffs and we've gone through a bit of a bad time, and we might have to go through some redundancies and things like that. And then it's like everyone's scared, and then they're like chatting in the canteen and whatever. If you're a freelancer, you're there and you're like, okay, cool, redundancies, whatever. When my contract is up, then I'm up and I'm responsible. I can do whatever. I don't want to buy into your fear mongering. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get you.
So from that point of view, I think that's the model. That's the model. It's like we want you there. We want to look at you. We want to instill fear. But it's also Pavlovian. So it's like, not only do we want to instill fear, but we also want to we will reward you as well. You know what I mean? And we'll make an example of you if you fuck up, of your mates. And then it's like, that's another way of instilling fear. But then you also have that desire for the reward. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as a freelancer, you can bypass all of that. You'll be like, I'm here to do the job. When the job is finished, you pay me, and then I go away. And if you like the work I did, I can come back.
Yeah. No, I mean, I work at an agency where I know they have the same, they basically permanent staff, but the same freelancers have been there for years. They've been there longer than I've been there. I've been there for a while. And, but they're still freelancers and they won't go permanent. And like, I've had honest chats with them. And they're just like, yeah, it is that ability to just back away from a situation. You've had enough. You want to take a break. You don't really get absorbed into the culture. You don't have to like subscribe to, the culture of an agency, especially if it's got a bad culture. Some agencies have cool cultures and you want to be a part of it. And some agencies don't. And that's just the way it is. I'm lucky. The agency I think I work for has a cool culture. And that's why I think these freelancers keep coming back, because they genuinely like working and the people there are genuinely nice. So sometimes it's also, I mean, we became friends. You were freelance and I was permanent at the same agency. And like it's the people you hang out with. The people inform the culture. It's not, doesn't always sometimes come from the top. Sometimes the top does like their culture, or the personality of the ECD or the CCO, whoever the fuck's at the top, does trickle down. But for the most part, if you hire good people, you have cool people around you, permanent or freelance, it doesn't matter. The culture is made by the people of that agency. And I think some agencies have cool fucking people around them. And like, I mean, advertising people in general are just cool fucking oaks. And we've had this discussion, I think last week even, where you like hanging out with advertising people just because they get it. They understand you, that we have similar experiences, and we can quote like all these movies that we've watched and all these books that we've read and all these albums that like nobody knows, these like underground albums, because we like absorb creativity so we can channel it into our work, right? And you hire these cool people, man. And I think that's with any company. I think that's the trick. Just the staff, the people you have on the floor or in their homes now, I guess, they inform the culture. And all you need to do is get the people. And the client, I know it's like an overused fucking quote, but it's who's the guy that owns Virgin?
Richard Branson.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, take care of the people and they'll take care of the clients, right? That's always the thing. And I think, yeah, man, like to the point, like I've been a permanent guy for as long as I can remember. I think I freelanced once and I made more money than I ever did in my, with like a what's the name? And I booked a trip to Switzerland and I was like fucking traveling, and then life happened. But yeah, man, I think maybe it is a personality thing. And I think some people crave safety and some people crave, what's it called? A net. And some people don't. And yeah, I think it is a personality thing. So I think before you decide to quit your job and freelance, know that what it entails. And yeah, I'm not like telling people not to do it. But I think the new wave, all new creatives are like freelance, man, because they always got these other things on the go. They're like, I can do this a little bit of advertising, but I'm doing comedy on the side. I'm doing music on the side. It's usually one of those two, or like I've got a business on the side that I need to like take care of. So, yeah, man, it's what you want to do, what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I mean there are also pitfalls to freelancing, which I'll get into now. But the thing is, we spoke about it with Coley. It's like, even if you are a permanent member of staff, how many people do you know who have side hustles? They're selling cupcakes or cookies, or they a wedding photographer, or they do illustrations on the side, commissions and stuff. It's just like everyone is already in that mindset. I don't think it's exclusive to freelancers. The only thing is, if you're a freelancer, you can manage that time a little bit better. You can take a few days off in a row to handle a project. You don't need to be working in the evening or weekends exclusively. But going into the pitfalls, obviously as a freelancer, you have the pitfall of not being guaranteed work and an income. The other thing is there's a ceiling, right? So unless you become like a freelance creative director, and those are kind of few and far between, and also they only come around for very specific needs. So when it's a pitch or when it's a huge campaign, then they'll get a freelance creative director. And then it's also like, there's only so many. So you kind of work your way out of your pay grade, or you only get to like a certain limit. And then it's like, they'll just get someone like a mid or a junior to do the work, or get a few mids or a few juniors, and it'll work out cheaper. But yeah, so there are a few pitfalls. You can't work your way up to like CD, for instance. Do you know what I mean? Through the ranks. And there's obviously, yeah, if you at a company for a long period of time, they do reward loyalty sometimes, and then they'll look after you, they'll give you shares in the company, they'll promote you and give you extra leave. Like, these things do happen. I don't know how common they are in advertising. I've heard of that happening with you know, some of my other friends in other industries where they'll get a 13th check. They will, if they're with a company for 5 years, then they'll get an extra few days leave. Benefits like that, you know, bonuses. You look confused. You make these things exist, bro.
Yeah. I mean, some companies have. Yeah, man. It's. I mean, it's a difficult time now. I don't think anyone's getting bonuses as well. Maybe, I don't know, but.
I'll tell you one thing for sure. People are getting bonuses. They're getting 13 checks. They are maybe just not our industry. But yeah, some of my mates in different industries, they're still getting increases. Don't be fooled by that. Not that that would be a depressing thing. All right, cool, bro. I'll catch you next week.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really hyped up today.
Positive.
Yeah.
Cool, bro. I gotta go. I've got another thing.